What changed in that locker room? What all of a sudden had you guys turn to a team that was able to make the run that you guys made then?
We know we just had to play for each other and play for our brothers.
Mhm.
And then play for Coach Steele and just play free. I feel like that's what Coach Hayes did a good job of, just
Mhm.
letting us play free and giving us that confidence.
What's going on today? I'm the host, SchuZ, and joining me today is 2022 NIT Most Outstanding Player, one-time NIT champion, one-time Big East honor roll selection, one-time Big East all-freshman team selection, two-time Big East freshman player of the week, one-time Alabama state champion, one-time Alabama 7A player of the year, the 2019 EYBL Breakout Player of the Year, and Xavier star, Colby Jones. Colby, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Man, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Well, you've been on here for a couple of times now. I think it's your third or fourth time that we've done an interview, but I was looking through your Xavier bio, and the one thing I didn't know about you prior to that was you have the nickname Colby Cheese. So is that something that's still in play today, or take us that nickname a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like it's still in play today. I don't know. My mom gave me that when I was younger, so it just kind of stuck with me growing up. And then the TV announcer started saying it, and Xavier fans started saying it. So yeah, I feel like it's making its way back around.
So is that a nickname you like, or is there another name you like going by for nickname wise?
I mean, I really like my friends really don't call me that. It's just like other people I don't know, but yeah, I really don't get called by that.
Absolutely. Well, we got a lot to get into today, like I said. So I want people to get to know your journey because you pretty much already had a breakout season this past year, especially the final three-fourths of the season or so. But I want people to get to know you because I think you're gonna be one of the biggest breakout stars for next season. So let's go back to your journey a little bit. And you started this all off out there in Alabama. What was it like growing up out there?
Uh, I mean, it was great. My whole family, we lived in the same neighborhood when I
Mhm.
was growing up, so I really got to spend time with my family and stuff like that. And then moving high school, I feel like it was a great decision basketball wise. But yeah, overall, I had a great experience living there.
Alabama isn't necessarily a state that is regarded for basketball. It's mostly because of football being such a dominant sport at the college level and obviously growing up through high school too. But there is a lot of talent that has come out of basketball and wise. You talk about yourself. JD Davidson's obviously a huge name. A lot of different guys have come out of there. So in terms of the basketball atmosphere out there, what's that like?
I feel like it's on the rise for sure. But I mean, I feel like it's had a pretty good fan base. Not the best like some of these other states have, but I feel like it's definitely on the rise.
You going through that and you end up becoming someone that makes a name for yourself. You obviously became a top 100 recruit and all that. But how were you able to do that when you guys don't necessarily have the spotlight that a lot of the states have on themselves?
Really just I continued to work, even though like at first things weren't going my way, but I kept working and then got on the EYBL circuit with the Fusion. I feel like that really helped out a lot as well.
Growing up, you were in a basketball family, though. Your dad played basketball at UAB. You also had your brother who played collegiately for a few years now, is obviously playing professionally. What was it like growing up in a basketball family, though?
It was great. You know, my dad would always take me and my brothers to the park, shoot, or rather be at rec gym. So I mean, it was a lot of basketball growing up involved, and that's how I really fell in love with the sport.
So, was basketball the very first sport you played, or was there other sports that you kind of loved until you ended up falling in love with the game?
No, basketball was my first sport. I played football for a little bit, but I didn't keep playing that for too long.
I have to imagine that you and your dad did play one-on-one games as well as your brother at times. What were those games like?
Uh, for a long time, my dad kept beating me. My brother would beat me, so I feel like that definitely made me tougher. But as I got older, of course, started beating up on my dad. So I mean, it was a good time. So
When was the time that you first realized you could start beating your dad, and what was that like?
um, to be honest, it was probably around like freshman year, sophomore year of high school. I mean, it was good just knowing that all those years, it was my turn to start winning some games now. So I mean, it felt good.
How about with your brother? Has he ever let you get any wins yet?
Uh, we really haven't played in a while because like he was in when I was in high school, he was in college. Now he's overseas. But I mean, when I was like younger, nah, he'd never take it easy on me.
So if you guys were to match up tomorrow, you guys went and play a game to 21. Who do you think is going to win that game?
I mean, I'm saying I'm winning that. But nah, it'd be a good game though. It'll be a good game.
I have to imagine that just growing up in a family that you have people to listen to. Obviously, your dad went to the college game. He knows what it takes to get there and how to play. And obviously, the game's changed a lot. But even then, with your brother, you got to see the recruiting process unfold for himself. He saw how the ups and downs of a college season and a career. How big has it been now for yourself as the development in terms of on the court and also off the court?
It's been a blessing just knowing that I have those figures in my life that's already been through that. So like it made it a lot easier on me for sure. Like my dad to give me advice and then just watching my brother like go through it in front of my eyes. So it just made everything a lot easier, I feel like.
What would you say is the biggest aspect you took away, rather it be on the court or off the court from your dad? And what's the biggest thing you took away from learning from your brother?
For my dad, off the court, he's told me to stay prayed up. He
Mhm.
told me that at my brother's signing ceremony in high school. So I feel like that really stuck with me. And then as far as my brother, just to do me, like whether that be on the court or off the court, he just wants me to be me, be myself.
You mentioned that you played football for a little bit there, so I do want to talk about that for a second. What was it like playing football, and what ultimately made you step away from that game when that time did come?
I started playing football in fifth grade because my basketball coach at the time was like, you should try it out, like get you tougher and stuff like that. So I tried it out for a little bit, played QB, was kind of good, stuck with it until the end of my eighth grade year, going to my freshman year, because I kept messing up my hip playing. So I was just like, no, I'm just leave it alone.
Would you say that you did end gain that toughness from football? Has that been one of the biggest reasons for your toughness today then?
Um, I wouldn't say that. I mean, football, you got to be tough playing that. So I feel like it added some, but uh, I really can't say.
So at what point in your career then would you say that you went all in on basketball? You realized, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to go this as long as I can possibly play this game. If that is through college or high school or potentially pro, like, when did you really start selling in on basketball being your true love and something that you want to pursue as long as possible?
I really say my eighth grade year. That's when I knew like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I feel like then, like I knew I was playing football at the time, but I knew I wasn't gonna play it forever. So
Mhm.
I feel like eighth grade is when I really like decided that's what I want to do.
So we go into your high school career then, and you go to start off at Pinson Valley, which we'll talk about in a second. But before we go into that, if someone would have came and told you before you started playing any high school basketball that in 4 years you were going to become a top 100 recruit and someone that could choose from schools like in Alabama, Xavier, and Auburn, Georgia, etc., would that have been something that shocked you? Was that something you expected for yourself, or what was your reaction have been if someone came and told you that at that age?
Definitely would have shocked me because like eighth grade, like I feel like no one in the state knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like just like based off of that, like I didn't realize like I would be able to get that exposure.
So when did that start happening for yourself? When did you start feeling that maybe the attention didn't come yet? Maybe you weren't ranked or getting offers, but when did you personally feel that your talent level was good enough to play at a high level after high school?
I'd probably say like during my ninth grade year, after my ninth grade year. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I had a pretty good year for a freshman. I just knew like I could compete with anybody pretty much.
So you do start off out there at Pinson Valley, and that's where you start off your high school career. What went into that? Why was that the school you want to start off at?
Well, just cause that was like where I lived my whole life. So, and then we just got a good coach coming in, Coach Lane at the time. So I knew I wanted to play for him and just stay at where I grew up at.
And as you said, you had a really solid freshman season there. What was that first year of high school like?
Um, it was a lot of nerves. So I remember my first game there, like it was hyped up because it was Coach Lane's old high school team.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the school was hyping it up, and it was a big crowd. But then I just came out there, I had a good game that game, so I just feel like that just gave me confidence for the whole season. But overall, I mean, I felt like it was pretty good for the most part. Like we didn't make it that far in playoffs, but it was pretty good overall.
Following that freshman year, then you head into your sophomore season. I believe you play out that season, but you end up transferring on the end of it, I believe.
Mhm.
Take us to that situation a little bit.
Well, Coach Lane, he got fired, and I really didn't. I really wanted to put myself in the best position basketball wise. I knew Mountain Brook, they had like the culture over there. They just won two state championships.
Mm-hmm.
great coaching, Coach Bucky. So I feel like that was just like the best decision I needed to make.
Now, like I said, I do believe you did play out that sophomore season, though. So what was that sophomore year like for yourself then?
Um, well, like I really didn't know until after my sophomore year I wanted to transfer, but
Mhm.
sophomore year, I feel like that's really when I started to put pieces together, just being aggressive and confident. But yeah, I feel like sophomore season I had a really good year.
So if Coach Lane would have stayed there and was still the coach, do you think you ever would have transferred then?
Probably not because I love playing for Coach Lane,
Mm-hmm.
but things happened. He did. I'm getting fired, so I did leave. But no, I feel like I don't know. That's a tough one. Probably not though.
Mm-hmm. Now, there is a unique piece about you. And at your height, you are a guard. You play, but because of your height, though, you've developed into becoming an elite rebounder. You can play and guard about 3, 4 positions. So it makes you someone that is extremely versatile. You can pretty much guard and play the one, even in some cases, all the way out to the four. How have you been able to grow into a player that you can do just about anything on the court?
Um, just trying to do whatever the coach needs me to do. And
Mm-hmm.
if that's playing at the four, I'm gonna do my best to play at the four, or so say that for whatever position.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just feel like just trying to do it whatever the team needs me to do to win. So I feel like that's where it came from.
Have you always been a great rebounder? Because you go back to high school and you always were averaging at least 5 rebounds a game, all the way up to 8.5, I believe, your senior season, to now go throughout your college career, 5 a freshman year, 7.5 your second year. Has this always just been something that's part of your game, or did that develop at some point in time?
Um, I don't know. I feel like it's just been a part of my game for as long as I can remember. Just trying to get the ball, I guess. Yeah.
Now, everyone that looks at your game, like I said, calls you and looks at you as an all-around player. But what would you say is your best thing? If you could say that there's one thing that you say is your favorite part of your game or your best part, what would you say that is?
Um, my favorite part of the game is just creating for others. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm underrated in that part, but I feel like I do that very well. Just creating for others. I feel like that's my favorite part. Thing I feel like I do best.
So let's head into you then. You're a big transfer. Then you make the move, and you end up going to a school, as you said, already won 2 championships, state championships out there at Mountain Brook, and they have a great coaching staff and Coach Bucky. Then you look at the teammates. You get Trendon Watford, who's now in the NBA. You have a lot of guys. Leo Steele, who's out there at Auburn now. Watch that move, and why was that the high school you originally chose to go play for?
Um, like I said earlier, like the culture, they already had great academics there as well. So I feel like it was just the best fit, and they were like the best team in the state. So I mean, I felt like that was like a no brainer to like go to that school at the time.
And Bucky McMillan is now the head coach out there at Stanford. Walk us through that a little bit. Just getting to play for a college coach at the high school level is not a common thing. So, what was it like being able to learn from him and be coached by him throughout your 2 years out there?
It was great playing for him. Just so many like small things that matter. I feel like he taught me that, and just playing hard. I feel like he really taught me that because practices were tough, conditioning was tough. So I feel like playing for him just made me a better player overall.
What would you say is your favorite memory that you created with Coach Bucky throughout those 2 years?
Um, I'd say just my whole senior year. I
Mhm.
feel like the whole team and Coach Bucky, we were just all like so connected. And I feel like that was just the favorite memory, just my whole senior year playing for him.
How about the funniest memory? Is there one memory that stands out the most that was the funniest time with Coach Bucky?
Um, I don't know. He says like a lot of slick stuff and just make you laugh sometimes. But no, definitely I'd probably say after we won the state championship my junior year, we all dumped him with water. Then
Mm-hmm.
he like went behind the corner real quick and came back with water guns. And got like all of us wet. So I feel like that was just like best memory overall.
There is another teammate out there that you guys created an incredible dynamic duo with in Trendon, who, like I said, obviously went to LSU now and is having a great career in the NBA to start it off. But what was it like playing alongside him and forming that dynamic duo with him throughout the 2 years there?
It was great. He taught me a lot. Really, all of my post stuff, I was just watching him in practice, learning from him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with like the college decision, like we talked about that. He helped me like basically what to expect my freshman year of college. So I mean, he taught me a lot. He took me under his wing. So I mean, it was just great playing with him those couple years.
So, what's your favorite memory and your funniest memory with Trendon then?
Uh, Ooh. Funnest memory was probably, I don't even know. We have so many. All right, so I'll go with favorite memory first. Definitely winning the state championship my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a great season playing with him. And then the funniest moment was probably in the hotel room with that City of Palms with me, him, and A Wash.
Mm-hmm.
Those were fun times.
And he was a player that already had the spotlight on him. He's been dealing with the spotlight, the attention from majority of his high school career then. And that's something that you started getting on the latter parts of your career, more towards your senior year. How big was it to have someone that already knew what it was like to kind of learn from him? Because obviously you don't get a spotlight on you. That means more teams target you. It's kind of a target on your back in a way. How big was having him to learn from that aspect for you during high school?
Yeah, it was very helpful. He didn't let any of that like get to him. He was still a great teammate, great friend. And he didn't like let it affect his game on the court either. So I feel like I took that from him. And yeah, he just knew how to be humble with it. Like he wasn't around acting like he was better than everyone else. So I feel like I definitely took a couple of things from him.
Did you two know each other prior to the transition when you transferred out there, or did you guys just first start to get to know each other when you guys became teammates?
Like we knew of each other
Mm-hmm.
before I came over there, but we really haven't like hung out or anything like that. But like when I moved over there, we definitely got closer.
When would you say you two clicked on the court? When did you guys really feel that, okay, we can read each other, we know what's going to go on? When did you guys really click on the court then?
I feel like just like a couple games my first year. Cause
Mm-hmm.
like, like when someone new comes in, you just gotta try to figure them out. So I feel like that's what everyone was doing the first couple of games. But when we all started clicking with each other, I feel like it was probably like the third or fourth game. It didn't take that long.
Now, how about when you guys play one-on-one? Because I do have to imagine playing in high school, I know you guys got a lot of time for one-on-one stuff. So how do those games go?
Uh nah, he was beating up on me, I'm not gonna lie, the first couple times, but I feel like I definitely got some games in there though. But he got most of them though.
So how about today? If you guys go and play a game, if you guys happen to find time, how's that game going to go?
I'm winning that now. But it'll be a good game for sure.
So let's go a little bit into that junior season, though. You guys have an incredible year, 31-3 record, only losing 3 games, and you have a huge season on a national stage pretty much now. So was that the expectation for you guys? Obviously, coming off back to back for themselves, they kind of expected to go win one. But for yourself, did you guys expect to have that dominant of a season that time when you guys went out there?
Yeah, I feel like we did. Just knowing like the talent we had and the coaching we had, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if we didn't, then it would be like a disappointing season. So I feel like we all knew what our goals were and what we had to do.
And we'll go a little bit more deeper into your recruiting process in a little bit. But at that point in time, where were you with the recruiting aspect? What schools were interested in you? Did you have offers prior to the transition over there? Or where were you in the recruiting aspect heading into your junior year?
Heading into my junior year, I think I had one offer. I had my UAB offer. That was my first offer.
Mm-hmm.
I had that going into my junior year. Then like that summer, I got like a couple more like mid majors.
Mm-hmm.
But like going up to that, like after my junior years when it picked up a little bit, but like before that, I really didn't have any.
So you guys go throughout the duration of that season and you average 14 points a game and you become a third team all state selection. What was that junior year like for yourself?
It was good because I knew I was coming over there, so I had to play my role and know my role. I feel like I did that, and I feel like no one on the team was selfish. We all wanted to play for each other and play for coach. So I feel like it went extremely well.
Yeah, walk us through the state championship though, because that's the one you win. You guys go into that game. Obviously, the expectation was that you guys win it again. What was that game like?
Um, well, the semifinal game against Lee, that was probably like the game of the year. It was back and forth. We actually had to end up coming back down from about like 11 with like a couple minutes left. So I mean, I feel like that game was really like the championship game.
Hmm.
We knew like once we beat them, we should definitely win the championship game. So I feel like just those two games were a great experience.
But when you guys go through that game and you guys come to the conclusion of it and you guys are officially state champions, what was going through your mind as well as that like?
Uh, my mind was just racing. I was speechless, like because I always wanted to win a state championship. Like growing up in middle school, coming to watch the games down there at the BJCC. So just know I finally won one. It meant a lot to me.
Following that season, then you go into your EYBL season, and that's what really makes you go on the national stage and you really break out there. But you join a team in Alabama Fusion, who obviously is in the EYBL, and a lot of guys are on that roster. And at that time, some of those guys probably weren't as well known as they are today. But you join that team, you get guys like Mark Sears out there, who now people know who his name is. You get Tommy Murray, you get yourself, obviously, and others. What was that experience like, and why did you decide to run with them then?
It was a great experience. I was playing with them since my first year at AAU, really my ninth grade year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I didn't want to leave at all because Coach Shannon, that's my guy, that's like my mentor. So I knew I was sticking with him, and most of the guys from my ninth grade year, we stuck together. And I feel like that's why we had such a great year, because we just had such great chemistry, and we weren't trying to do one-on-one ball, we were playing team ball.
Heading into that, as you said, you did have offers on the table, at least one of them, then you had some interest from schools, but you at the time said probably thought, okay, you know how good you could have been, you know how good you were at that time. Was there any pressure on yourself, or maybe even expectations saying, I want to go out here and I know I can kind of become the player that I believe I can be. I can be a top 100 player. I can get the high major offers. Was there any pressure on yourself heading into that final AAU season?
No, there really wasn't any pressure, because I knew like if it was meant to be, it's gonna come, because I knew I've been put in the work for it. So I mean, that's what I'm gonna keep playing my game, and whatever happens, happens. There really wasn't like any pressure.
I mentioned that you had a breakout season, and you obviously were the biggest breakout player that season because that's the award you won, Breakout Player of the Year. What was that final AAU season like?
Uh, it was a blessing. Like coming in, I didn't have any high major offers. Really didn't have any high major interest, but just to have that type of season, I mean, that like probably changed my life forever. So I'm just super thankful for that, and I'm glad it happened.
When you go through that season, you start getting the offers. People start to rank you and give you notoriety on the national stage. How did you change and how did you kind of deal with that? Obviously, it's a new lifestyle in a way now. How did you adjust to that?
Um, I really feel like I really didn't change much, because I was still just doing me. Like I didn't let it get to my head, I feel like, and feel like I was the same person. Didn't let it affect my outside like game on the court, or like friends on the outside. So I feel like I just stayed the same.
One guy I mentioned a little bit earlier, Mark Sears was on that team, and he goes through. He doesn't get too many offers by the end of his career. Now he becomes a guy that's now transferring out to Alabama. Did you expect him to become as good as he was at Ohio and now become the player that he is today? Or what were you expecting for him when he moved on to his college career?
I knew Mark would have a good college career. I knew he would blow up like this, because he did the same thing when I was playing with him. So I knew like he had it in him. It was just a matter of when.
Who would you say was the funniest guy on that team?
My boy Jaden, he's the funniest. He's still the funniest dude I know.
Now, you guys head into that senior season, then you wrap it up and you have the national spotlight on yourself. And you guys get ready for that senior season then out there at Mountain Brook. 3 straight championships, could have won 4, obviously would have been on the table. Take us through the expectations heading into your senior year.
The expectations were to definitely win a 4th one. That was our goal from the time we stepped on the first practice. But yeah, just win all the tournaments that we were in prior to the state championship. But yeah, definitely those two.
Now, you have an incredible breakout season once again than your senior year. You go from a guy that averaged 14 a game, was 13 All-State, to player of the year now, 25 points a game. Did you expect that breakout season for yourself to then occur at the high school level too?
Um, I mean, I really didn't expect it, but I feel like I knew I would have a pretty good, like a better senior season, just off of like the momentum I had from AAU season and from like the end of last season.
So you guys still have a pretty solid year. You guys once again only lose 3 games, 32-3, fall just short of winning the state championship again, though. But what was that senior year like for yourself?
It was probably the most fun season I've had playing basketball. Like it was just so fun playing with all the guys on the team. We felt like we had a great bond. So I mean, I feel like that season was just very special to me.
When you talk about Trendon, he obviously goes out to LSU and has his career as there. But did you guys ever discuss teaming up in the college level? Was that ever something on the table for you two?
Nah, we really never talked about it, because he just let me do my own thing.
Mhm.
and he was going to support me either way. So I feel like, we really didn't talk about it.
So you now look back at your entire high school career. For yourself now, what would you say was your favorite memory? What's the best thing that you think occurred for yourself in high school wise, anything basketball related through your high school career?
Um, Definitely my state championship. I feel like because that was just my goal coming into high school. Like I wanted to win one, so I felt like it was just special to me.
You look at everything that you went through, ups and downs through your high school career. What would you say is the biggest lesson or thing you took from your high school career that you've now put into your college game and has helped you become the college player that you are today?
Um, just being aggressive when it's not going your way. I feel like I learned that throughout my high school career. I
Hmm.
feel like it's been helping me like my first 2 years of college.
Who would you say was your favorite matchup? If you could go pick one guy that you love matching up against in high school, who would that guy be?
Probably, I'd probably say Keyshawn Murphy. He goes to Mississippi State now. I feel like every time we played his team, like it was a good game. So I feel like that was probably my favorite matchup.
Well, let's hop into that recruiting process a little bit deeper now because we already mentioned that you had about an offer through your junior season, and then you have the big breakout EYBL season. Like I said too, you have a lot of schools on the table for yourself. School like Alabama, Auburn, Georgia was in the mix, UAB, obviously Xavier too. Who were some of the biggest schools that you said kind of came it down to? Was there a final two or three for you that you kind of said, okay, this is my final group I'm looking at?
Um, yeah, my final three were probably Xavier, Stanford, and Yale. Those like the three I was like really considering.
Obviously, those last two you said would have been big schools for the educational aspect. What was it about those two schools, and why were you wanting to consider the academic aspect too?
Really just cause like really the academic aspect, and they were like good in their respective leagues. So I feel like it would have been a good decision either way. And definitely if you get a degree from one of those two schools, like you're good. So
Mm-hmm. That is a unique piece about you, though, because I know you still have a high GPA as well. Why have you decided to value your academics so much through high school and also now through college?
just cause like your education stays with you forever, even after the ball stops bouncing. So I feel like why not take this serious and try to see what I can get out of it.
Was that mindset established by yourself, your parents, or who kind of established that mindset in you?
I felt it was always expected of me to get good grades
Mm-hmm.
growing up in school. So I feel like that just stuck with me even up to now.
So you then come down to the decision where you choose Xavier as the school you want to play college for. How did Coach Steele win you over?
Just the relationship we built. I feel like I had the best relationship with all the coaches I was talking to, including the rest of the staff. I feel like we talked like pretty much every day. So I just felt that trust with them that I could play for them.
So when you got out there and you were part of a pretty solid recruiting class as well, had a few of the big time pieces. Some guys have also moved on from that team now as well. But what were your expectations for a freshman season? Because you guys go out there and we'll talk about COVID in a second, but what did you just want to get done as a freshman in college?
I definitely want to make all freshman team in the Big East
Mm-hmm.
and really just see if I can. I just wanted to know if I could like really play at that level. I mean, I knew I felt like I could, but I really just wanted experience first. Know I can be out there.
And as I mentioned, there was the big cloud over college basketball for last season. And obviously, even this past year just got finished up, was obviously had it for pieces of the year where COVID was a big factor. But you go through the COVID pandemic, and I know that was difficult for everyone in the world, but especially basketball players, and even more so for freshmen, because you guys typically would get out there in early June, go to work out, go through a certain type of workout schedule. It messed up a lot of it for you guys. So, how were you able to go through the offseason as a freshman with the COVID pandemic going on?
Yeah, definitely like during the summer, they were sending us like these P90X videos to do, try to like get in shape somehow. But yeah, definitely a lot of time on outside goals at my high school shooting, getting ready for the summer. But during the summer, it was just weird because we'd have to get tested every couple of days, and then we could only work out with like two people at a time. So I felt like it definitely threw everything off.
Were you guys able to get on campus early, like a typical during the summer, or when were you guys first able to get out there and be at Xavier to be able to do some form of workouts?
Uh, yeah, I feel like we got there like normal time, like freshman year. We got out there June 15th,
Hmm.
and then we started workouts like a week later.
So did you guys ever have to go back home then after that? Did you guys spend time there, or when did you guys get back on campus?
We stayed there for like I think 2 or 3 weeks. Then we went home for a week. Then we came back up there for like the rest of the year.
And that was a huge thing because you guys had the pretty much daily testing. You guys had constantly having to go through that. You guys had the mask being worn, the limited locker rooms, all that type of stuff going on. How much, if any, did that would you say that affected you during your freshman season?
Um, I feel like it definitely threw like timing off because you'd get put in quarantine for close contact, and that's what like I went through that like 3 or 4 times my freshman year. So I feel like it just threw the timing of everything off. Like you couldn't really like know what you're doing.
So how did you get through that, and as well as your teammates, but especially for yourself? How did you get through a season where everything's up in the air? You guys don't know if you guys are playing one night. You guys could be. Maybe it's gonna be rescheduled. Maybe it's gonna be canceled. How did you get through that, as well as just the daily testing and the pandemic type stuff, having to wear masks and all that? Like, how did you get through that as a freshman?
Um, Really just praying and just trying to stay ready because you never know, like you said, you never know like if you're gonna be playing or if you're not. So you just had to stay ready.
You had a few great leaders on that team, but what was it like having veterans in that locker room, guys like Paul and Nate and different guys to kind of help guide you as a freshman, help mature you both mentally and on the court?
Yeah, it helped a lot having that leadership. Just knowing you have someone to look up to if you don't know what you're doing. So I feel like that just made me more comfortable on and off the court.
Would you say it was one of those two, or was it someone else? Would you say that kind of was the biggest help for you, kind of took you under their wing and helped you throughout your career so far?
I'd say all of them really. Like they all took me under their wings. Like they didn't try to be on no bully. So I just feel like they all I feel like they all helped out in their own way.
So, what was the biggest thing that Nate and Paul both taught you? If you could pick one thing from Nate, one thing from Paul, what was the biggest aspect of basketball, mentally, on the court, whatever it is, that they both taught you?
Um, it's just like the small stuff they say like every day you hear just to, keep you motivated or just like don't do this, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do want to go into a little bit in Coach Steele because obviously we'll talk about what happened this past season and all that. But what was your relationship like throughout the time he was coaching you, from the time he started recruiting you to obviously being let go this past year? How close did you guys get?
I felt like we got really close just because as your head coach, so you're going to talk to him a lot. But I felt like we had a great relationship. He really knows how to connect with like players. So I felt like he did a great job of that. And I feel like we were really close.
Although it was a bumpy first year for you guys only got to play a handful of games that season. What was it like playing for him, and how much was it like just beginning to go through those games where he gave you a pretty solid role? You still started 11 games that season. What was it like just playing for him throughout that first year?
Um, it was great because he had a lot of trust in me, so that just made me feel better as a player. And it was good just to finally get out there for my first. It was my first couple college games ever. So I mean, I just felt to get that first year under my belt.
Did you expect to be a player that could go out there and start 11 games, be someone that was an all commerce selection? I know you said that was a goal for yourself, but did you think that's the way that your freshman season would have gone?
I mean, that's what I was hoping for, and that's what I was working for. So I mean, definitely, I was thinking that I could definitely have a year like that.
As you went through that season, I know that there's typically a freshman wake up moment for guys that rather that happened during the training camp process as a freshman or first couple games of the season. Would you say there was a freshman wake up moment? And if so, what was that for yourself?
I'd just say like the first first couple like workouts on the court, and then the first couple lifts. I feel like those were like really welcoming me to college. So
What was the biggest thing that you had to adjust to at the college level?
just the speed and the physicality, really. That was a big two.
So you go through the duration of that season and you guys go 13-8 that year, but take us to the ups and downs of that season and just what that year was like for yourself.
Um, I feel like there was more ups and downs. Like we lost games, but I feel like I was still learning a lot.
Mhm.
Definitely the quarantines really like threw me off, and I ended up getting COVID actually. So that just made things worse. But I feel like those were definitely the downs. But I feel like for the most part, there was a lot of ups, a lot of firsts for my like my career as far as college. So I felt like it was pretty good.
You take us to that very first time you got COVID and having to go through the quarantine process and having to ramp yourself back up to get ready to play. How were you able to do that? And just what was that time like?
Um yeah, it was tough because I mean, you don't want to eat anything, don't want to drink anything. So I lost like 10 to 12 pounds like in that week and a half I had it. So I mean, it was rough just trying to get my weight back up. But I mean, I didn't end up playing the rest of the season at my normal body weight because it was just so hard to get back up. But I mean, yeah, that's all. Yeah.
When you did get back, what percent of your body weight did you recover from? Was it still like 6 pounds you got back, a couple of pounds, or when were you at least able to be clear? Like, what was the requirement by the training staff to say, okay, yeah, I think you're good enough to at least go out there and play?
I think I had to get like 5 or 6 more pounds back. I ended up getting like just that.
Mm-hmm. So when you did get back out there, was that easy for yourself, or how did that affect you going forward?
The first game back, it was definitely rough just because like you've been out of the flow so long
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to get like the speed of the game back underneath your belt, and it definitely affected me like the first 1 or 2 games.
There is a big moment for yourself, though. You get the game-winning shot against Providence. That also ultimately leads to getting freshman player of the week that week as well. What was that game like? Take us through the course of the game and then obviously hitting the shot. What was that game like?
Uh, it was good. Like I know I scored like early on in the game. I really didn't score much until the second half, and then with like 9 minutes left, he took me out, and I didn't get put back in until like a minute 30 left. And then he put me in, and they ran a play for my boy AK at first, and he kicked it out. And I hit it, and it just meant the shot. It still that means the world to me because my granddad passed 2 days before I hit that shot. So I felt like he was definitely with me on that shot. So I mean, it just means a lot to me.
And that was the other thing I wanted to go into because when obviously something like that occurred, how did you get through that? And during obviously what's already been a up and down season for yourself, how did you get through the situation?
Um, just praying a lot, and my teammates they really helped me out a lot. They try to cheer me up as much as they can. So I feel like just the combination of that and just knowing I wanted to play that game for him, I feel like those what pushed me through.
And that obviously is something that I'm sure the opportunity was still available for you to sit out that game or take as much time as you needed. What pushed you and said, I want to go out there and play? I know I could come back and make play for him possibly a week later, 2 weeks, whatever it might have been, but I want now to be the game I go out there and play. Why was that the mindset for you?
Um, I don't know. I feel like that was the best way I could honor him because he never missed. He never missed any of my high school games. He barely missed any of the college games that year. So just knowing that I want to do this for him.
I know you're also a believer, and we'll wrap up talking about that on the end too. But how big was your faith being able to help you not just through that situation, but ultimately throughout the whole year? But how big was your faith, especially in that moment, to help get you through that and get you out there to play games again and have a great end of your season?
I mean, I just asked God for the strength to play that game because my emotions were everywhere just with like all that was going on. So I feel like he definitely did, and he would allow me to hit that shot.
So then you go through the duration of that season. It wraps up. Then you get ready for your sophomore year. Then what was this past offseason like? Getting ready for this past season. What were your approaches like? What were your goals that you wanted to get done and improve on throughout your offseason heading into your sophomore season?
Definitely continue to add to my body, try to get some more athleticism,
Mm-hmm.
working on my shot and just working on my ball handling and my finishes.
You submit yourself as a guy that was a starter from day one throughout the end of the season. Was that the goal for yourself? Did you expect to become that type of guy this year?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you guys were going through training camp and preseason, was this something that Coach Steele came and told you, Colby, we want you to become a starter from day one? Was it during the preseason time they told you that, or when did you really start realizing that, okay, my role will be as a starter this year?
Really just the first couple like summer practices, he puts like first team, second team, third team on the board before practice. I was just seeing my name on the first team every day, so I just kind of figured like this is who he's gonna roll with. So
Was there any added pressure for yourself at that point, knowing that you had big shoes to fill now in a way you are becoming a starter now? How did you take that role in?
I feel like there really wasn't any pressure,
Mhm.
just knowing that I had to do whatever my role was and I had to be consistent with it now that I'm being a starter. So I feel like there really wasn't any pressure. It was just like more like to prove to myself that I can do that.
Being a player that averaged almost 12 points a game this year, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, was this year something that you expected to be that good this year, or did that even shock you a little bit?
Um, I mean, I feel like it was expected just because I knew like the kind of freshman year I had and just the work I had put in
Mm-hmm.
that summer. So I feel like I definitely wanted to have a good year.
Now, this was an up and down year for you guys. You guys started off as a team that was a top 25 team pretty much week in and week out for the a little bit over half part of the season. Then you guys hit conference play for a little bit and obviously went down a little bit. Then you guys had a great run. So the beginning parts of that, though, you guys have a pretty great team. You talk about Zach Romanto, you talk about Jack coming in, you got yourself obviously returning, Adam, obviously got Nate and Paul as well coming back. What did you guys think you guys could accomplish this year when you guys were going and getting ready for the season?
We wanted to win the Big East.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make the tournament. I mean, those were your goals. I mean, if you're not aiming for that, then like it shouldn't be like on the team. So we had high goals for ourselves, and those were the goals we wanted to set out and try to accomplish.
So you guys go through that first half of the season. You guys were a top 25 team every week. What was the team's confidence like? And just walk us through where the team was at that point in time when you guys were just pretty much up until New Year's or whatever that was, right before conference play. What was it like just the first half of the season?
It was great because everything's better when you're winning. So everyone's feeling good. I mean, campus is buzzing. We just beat. I know we beat Ohio State, beat UC. So I feel like just the vibes were good.
So then you go into that second half of the season when you guys get to conference play, and obviously it goes up and down year at that point. What would you say when you reflect back on that? What exactly happened within the team personally? What do you think happened during the second half of the season?
Um, I don't know. I feel like one thing just led to another. Like we didn't know how to like bounce back from a game or two. We lost a game or two. So I feel like that just continued to like to carry on throughout the second half of the season.
For yourself personally, was that anything that hurt confidence wise for yourself, or what was your mindset as you guys were going through losses and losses again? How were you reacting to it personally?
Um, I mean, I was down just because we were losing. I don't like to lose, but just trying to keep that positivity, like next one's gonna be better. So I feel like just trying to do that and try to motivate the team as much as I could.
You guys go through that tournament then, and obviously you guys end up losing early on. The whole Coach Steele thing occurs then as well. Walk us through the way that the steps that all happened. You guys end up kind of getting to that point where you guys still were a bubble team. People could have very said, okay, you guys could have technically got into it. Most likely, a lot of people thought it'd be NIT though, and then Coach Steele gets let go. Just take us to all the events that were happening and how you dealt with them.
Yeah, it definitely like it happened after the first round of NIT, just won. He called us in for a meeting like the next day, saying like they decided like it was best for they both parted ways. I mean, it hit me because that was my coach. That's who I played with for 2 years. That's who took a chance on me coming out of high school. So I had a lot of respect for him. But yeah, I mean, it was wild because we just came off a win. But I mean, it's like you never know what's gonna happen.
Was that a move that you kind of thought could potentially happen rather than now or maybe in the offseason? Or
Yeah, I definitely thought it would. Like, if it was gonna happen, I didn't think it would happen right then. I felt like they would at least waited till like after the season. So that definitely threw me off.
all of a sudden, then you guys come off that win, and we know what happens. You guys go on an incredible run, win the NIT. You change the game completely, though, as well. We'll talk about next. But Coach Jonas Hayes comes in and he takes over now at the head coaching spot. What changed in that locker room? What all of a sudden had you guys turn to a team that was able to make the run that you guys made then?
We know we just had to play for each other and play for our brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then play for Coach Steele and just play free. I feel like that's what Coach Hayes did a good job of,
Mm-hmm.
just letting us play free and giving us that confidence.
And that is hard. That I know Coach Hayes obviously got the respect for the most part that he got. He gets a head coaching job, which I think he's going to be great at. But when he comes in, that's not easy because you guys were obviously in a way down just from not being the main tournament you guys have the goals for. And obviously, there's a coaching change happens with just a few games left. How did he come in there and basically say, this is the game plan. We're going to be able to be a successful team. We still can accomplish something this year. How did he establish that mentality in you guys when he got hired and took over the job then?
Like he told us, like if we didn't want to win a championship, then like why are you even in the locker room? So I feel like that just really like clicked in all of us, and we just we wanted to play for each other, and we knew we had a chance to at least win a trophy to end the year. So I feel like that's what we put our minds on.
At this point, as I mentioned, you completely switched the way you're playing as well. You turned the guy that, like I said, won the player MVP of the entire tournament at the NIT championship. What switched for you then? Why did all of a sudden you turn up to a whole nother level and become the star of the team during that run?
So I just felt like that's what the team needed me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know Paul going down, we definitely needed someone else to step up, and I felt like I wanted to take on that role. I feel like I did, but yeah, just knowing that my team needed me the most at that moment.
You guys get through that run. You guys go to the NIT championship game. What was that game like? And just take us through that game and what that experience was like to ultimately come away as a champion of the NIT.
It was crazy. It was such a good feeling, definitely, and even like the game, championship game against Texas A&M, just the way we won, I feel like it added even more to it. But just knowing we won that, being able to cut down the nets there, I mean, it was a great feeling.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that some people, the vast majority of fan bases out there will say, okay, the NIT doesn't mean that much. It's not the main thing. But you look at something like Memphis from last year, and I had a couple of other guys on after they won it. It might not mean a lot to some other fan bases, but for you guys, it can give a lot more motivation. You guys were able to accomplish something that season, and it gives you guys added fuel for the next season. How big was winning that for you guys as a team, collective group? Like, how big was that for you guys as a program?
I feel like it was big because it's just like you said, it gives us confidence going into the next season,
Yep.
and it just shows us that we have fight about us. Like not making the NCAA tournament, like we could have laid down. I wanted to play in the NIT, get bounced first round, but I feel like we just put our heads down and grinded, and we ended up winning.
Now, when you look back at it, that team that we saw playing in the NIT and throughout I think Texas A&M as well should have. But had you guys been in the real tournament, do you guys think that you guys would have had the same fire behind you guys that you guys had going into NIT after Coach Steele got let go and all that? Or what do you think his mentality would have been if you guys did make the at-large bid and make the NCAA tournament?
I feel like it kind of would have been like the same switch that got flipped because we barely got let in, and I feel like we would have did some damage in the tournament if we would have made it.
When you look back at last year, according to your going into the season goals of making the national tournament and to make a run in that as well, that didn't occur. But would you guys say this was still a successful season, knowing that you guys won the NIT championship, knowing that you had the feel now, you saw and could kind of live out what you're capable of doing at this level? Would you say the season was a successful year for yourself looking back at it?
Um, I don't know. I feel like it's somewhere like in between because we definitely didn't accomplish any of the goals we wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel like we finished the regular season poorly, but I feel like we came together at the end and was able to win that championship. So I feel like it's just like in between.
You look at yourself now, and as I said, you've got to experience that and realize that you are capable of playing at a team leading type of level at this level at the Big East national scene. How much feel does this give yourself now, knowing that you can go over and obviously it's gonna be a different scheme a little bit now with Coach Miller, but you have the ability to become a star player at this level. How much feel has it given you now going into this offseason?
I feel like it just makes me want to work even harder because I know it's not going to come easy if I want to be in that role. So I just want to be prepared as I can.
So what do you expect for yourself now? You have this offseason, then you get into your junior season. What do you think you're capable of? Can you continue the performance and the level you're playing at the final 5, 6 games of the season? Or what's the expectations for yourself heading into your junior year now?
Um, I just really want to be the best player I know I can be right now. And whatever that leads to is what it leads to. So I feel like I know how well I think I can play. It's just up to me if I'm capable of it.
Let's go to that coaching change then, because Coach Hayes does an incredible job. They ultimately do go with Coach Miller a little bit through the NIT. I think it was 2 or 3 games before you guys made the championship. He comes in though. Walk us through what your first reaction was to having him come in. Your first time you met him, what was that experience like?
Um, I mean, it was good because like you see about him at Arizona, saw him coach here at Xavier. So I mean, it was just a surreal feeling just to be able to meet him. And he's a great coach. So it was just a great moment.
We know in today's basketball world that the transfer portal is hot. Guys are constantly flipping scores right now, especially when you have a coaching change. And rightfully so. If you decide to go into the portal, there's nothing wrong with that. Would have made sense. But how was he able to win you over? How did Coach Miller win your trust over to the point where you said, I'm not even going to test what I could get at the portal. I want to stay here. I want to keep building this program. How did he do that?
Just knowing that, I was here for 2 years, so I grew like accustomed to this place. I got comfortable with here, and just knowing like the plan he has for me, what we talked about. So I feel like this is like the best place to do it. As Xavier has like top resources in the country for us basketball wise. So I feel like why not do it here?
What is his plan for you then? When you talk about heading into next season, what does he have in store for you, game plan wise, number wise, potentially? Like, what did he talk to you in terms when you say his plan for you? Like, what exactly was that?
Just to be that guy like I was in the NIT, just to be able to play my game and just lead the team in a sense. So yeah.
And his track record, people know about. We know his success he's had as a coach at the NCAA level, but a lot of people don't get to see what he's like off the court. So you've been able to be around him now for a little bit. What is Coach Miller like off the court?
He's a real laid back guy,
Mm-hmm.
but what he says he means. So I feel like he's giving you everything real, but he expects the best out of you.
They have a rich program history. They've been a successful team for many years, and they haven't even necessarily been bad the past couple of years. But when you talk about this program potentially getting back to a year in, year out tournament team, why should fans be buying Coach Miller? Why is he capable of bringing them back to the point that the program historically has been at?
Um, just because like he has that track record, like what he did at Arizona, and even what he did here, his first time at Xavier. I feel like he knows how to win, and I feel like the fans here they're gonna buy into it.
When you talk about this team and the way they're building, he was able to retain pretty much everybody that had any form of eligibility. Obviously, Nate and Paul had to move on, but you look at yourself, Adam, Jack, Zach. The entire team has been able to come back now for the most part. How excited are you, and why do you think everyone wanted to buy in? Why did so many guys say, let's run this back, let's keep this team core group together?
It's a great feeling. I feel like we have a great team chemistry. I feel like that's one of the reasons why everyone was so excited when a couple players started coming back and they wanted to come back. So I feel like just that and like that bond we have, I felt like it was hard to separate.
You look at the core group that is on paper right now. You also are adding in a really solid freshman group as well, and obviously headed by Desmond right now. When you talk about this group that you're seeing so far, how excited should fans be for next year's team?
They should be very excited. I feel like we're just gonna be a lot more motivated than we were this past year. I feel like it's gonna be a great season.
How about goals for yourself, goals for the team? Like, what do you think this team is capable of accomplishing next year?
Win the Big East and advance as far as we can in the tournament. I feel like those are like two goals that we've had for the past couple of years, but I feel like we can really accomplish it this year.
Now, no huge thing for guys is the changing of NIL. That's obviously occurred since you've been out there. What is the NIL looking like for yourself? Obviously, Coach Miller comes in, he has his own resources or whatever he's going to be able to produce. How big was NIL factoring into your decision? Just ultimately, what does the opportunity look like for NIL out there?
Um, it's going good. I feel like I've gotten like pretty good a couple of deals, but as far as like my decision to transfer, I feel like it really didn't have anything to do with it just because like if you're doing what you need to do, like the NIL deals will come. So I feel like that really wasn't like a factor.
Now, this is a question that you can take whichever company you want, but if you could pick one company or brand out there, whether it be a car company, a shoe company, a clothing, whatever it is, food company, restaurant, or whatever it is, what would your dream NIL deal be?
Mm, Probably like a Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be crazy.
I also know that all guys want to build a legacy for themselves. So when you do end up wrapping up your career out there at Xavier, rather it be in 2 more years or three if you use your COVID season, what do you want to be remembered for what you've built and what you accomplished throughout your Xavier career?
Um, I just want to be known as a guy that played his hardest and gave it his all.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a big reason why not a big reason, but one of the reasons why I came back to Xavier, just to be able to leave that legacy and knowing that I came in here and I just wanted to stay.
Well, a few more things before I let you go. One of which is that you've rocked number 3 now for a while. So what's the meaning behind that? Is that just a number that you've kind of had your entire career, or what's the meaning behind why you wear number 3?
I normally wore 10 my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
but when I transferred to Mountain Brook, they didn't have 10.
Mm.
So I stuck with that, and then I just stuck with 3 in college.
So does that number create any significance to you, or is that just something you just had to take number 3 out there and you just rock with the sense?
Yeah, it's just something I had to take, and I've been rocking it since then.
Well, I want to wrap talking about your faith, though. And I know we touched up on that a little bit throughout this interview, but going into that a little bit deeper now, how would you say God has helped get you to the point that you're at today?
I mean, he's the only reason why I'm here. Without him, I know like none of this is possible. So I give him all the glory whenever I play. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, like without him, I'm not here.
So we've gone through your story now. Where would you say has been the biggest moment that you've seen God show up in your life?
Um, Really, when I hit that shot against Providence, I feel like I really felt him right then, just because like my granddad dying so soon like that. I just felt his arms around me like the whole game, that game.
As you get a larger and larger platform throughout the rest of your career in college and playing pro after that, how do you plan to be able to spread his light and be his light to the world?
Um, I mean, just spread his word in every way possible. I mean, let people know like just to be grateful and be humble, or he can take it all away from you in the in moments notice. So, I mean, I'm just gonna do everything I can to spread his word.
I know that some people might grow up in a Christian household. I'm not sure if that exactly was the case for yourself, but at some point, no matter how you grew up, there comes that time where you really form that personal one-on-one relationship with him, where you start trusting on him, and it's no longer just something that your family or someone puts on you. It's your own bond. So when was that for you? When would you say you really created that personal connection with God?
Um, I feel like it was early on because my dad he really wanted me to talk to God when I was younger, and I feel like it just stuck with me ever since then. So I feel like early age.
Well, my final thing for you, give Xavier fans your 3 biggest goals that you have set for your Xavier career.
Big East championship,
Mm-hmm.
Double A championship. Dang, one more. Number 1 ranking. There we go.
Absolutely, man. Well, Colby, congratulations on knowing where you're going to be playing next season, man. Enjoy the rest of the off season. Keep being alive. I'm excited for what God's got next for you, man, and appreciate taking time to come on today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, you know you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. You too.